Okay, hello everybody and thank you for watching this video. I'm joined today in the studio by Roy Wilsher, who is the Chair of the National Fire Chiefs Council. Roy, thanks for joining us first of all. So you're here in the West Midlands today with us for the NFCC Steering Group meeting, that's right, isn't it? Can you just start really by telling us a little bit about what you've been talking about in there today?
Of course. Again, as a reminder for everyone, the steering group is the vice chairs and the committee chair. So we come together to make sure we're really coordinating across the NFCC work, make sure we're linking together, not missing anything, no gaps, no duplication. So it's not really it isn't a decision-making board, but it really helps that continuity. So there's been some really important subjects today. I think foremost on that, and not far from everyone's mind outside of operations, is finance. So of course fire has been one of those departments that's not been protected through austerity. We all know where we've had reductions and cuts, let's call them what they are. So we understand there's two things happening. So every year there's work for the local government settlement and precepting, council tax, that sort of thing. But also next year we're pretty certain there will be another comprehensive spending review. So today we talked very much about how the National Fire Chiefs Council will build an evidence base to ensure that fire and rescue, fire authorities in England get the best possible settlement they can through those two processes. The really good thing about today is, and people have heard this before, both the Police and Fire Minister in England, Nick Hurd, and the Permanent Secretary of the Home Office, Philip Rutland, said that they would work with us to build that evidence for the Treasury. And that's exactly what's happening. So today we had colleagues, Emma Lawrence and Anna Richardson, supported by Katie from the Home Office, that had that really robust discussion with us. So what has risk changed? What part of risk does demand make? What sort of resourcing have we got across the fire and rescue service? Are we resourcing to just demand, which we don't agree with, or is that part of risk as well? How do we build an evidence base together to put a submission with the rest of the Home Office to the Treasury to ensure we get the best settlement and the fairest settlement for fire and rescue? So I think that's a really important piece of work.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's been a really useful meeting today. I know that one of the things a lot of people will be interested in at the minute, or certainly this week, will be the report, the Kerslake report that's just come out. Is there anything that you can update us on in terms of that and what's likely to come next from National Fire Chiefs Council?
Of course, if you look at, and those who've read the Kerslake reports or even just seen the television coverage, the media coverage, it's been a difficult week for fire. Now, obviously our first thoughts are with the victims of the incident, our condolences are there, but our thoughts are also with colleagues in Manchester. It can't have been easy for anyone in Manchester, both present and past, what's been said in that particular report. So we're determined to learn the lessons. Through Dan Stevens' Operations Committee, we'll be working with Blue Light Partners and others to look at the joint operating principles around terrorism, to look at joint operating principles around marauding terrorism, firearms incidents, because that was where some of the communication breakdown happened as well, and how we respond to that. Our position is very clearly, National Fire Chiefs Council, it is in our role to respond to terrorism in all its forms, and we'll make sure we work with everyone to take that forward. And I was really appreciative of the Fire Brigade Union's press release that said they wanted to work with us as a National Fire Chiefs Council to move these things forward. So we look forward to those discussions.
Excellent. So likely that we'll see some more stuff coming out in the not too distant future.
Very much so.
Excellent. And we're probably just short of 3 weeks away now from National Fire Chiefs Council Spring Conference. For those that are going to be attending or thinking of attending, what are they likely to see there?
Well, I would encourage people to attend, because I think this is, we're trying to make these not just about information giving, but information receiving and joining people in. And there's so much going on with National Fire Chiefs Council at the moment. I talked about all the finance side, but other things we've talked about in the steering group were how standards will move forward, how we're going to make sure our annual plan reflects what we want it to reflect, how it links to the strategy, how the committees work together, and how we develop all that in a way that makes the fire and rescue service across the UK even better. So there's going to be a really good session on that, how NFCC's structured, our annual plan, how we're going to communicate in future, and how we're going to work together. So that's one session. Second session is on well-being and health and well-being, particularly mental health. There's been a lot post-Grenfell, there's been a lot in all sorts of areas where we said how important that is, and how important it is that men, and at the moment the vast majority of our workforce, the operations side, is male, how they should talk more, how they should come out. So we've got some excellent speakers on that. We've got Richard Welsh, who's one of the forward commanders at Grenfell, will speak about that. Also Clark Carlisle, who many people will know, who's an ex-footballer, who's had mental health issues himself, and a lot to talk about well-being. So it's a second session will be fantastic. And probably the biggest session of that time will be Grenfell and the Hackett Review. So Dame Judith Hackett is there that morning, be led by Mark Hardenham, our Protection Committee Chair, who's done an awful lot of work with others on our response to Grenfell. And we're talking about how the Hackett Review is now shaping up. So fortunately, National Fire Chiefs Council has been on every one of the 6 work groups for the Hackett Review. We'll be able to update people what that's looking like, how we're going to move forward, and what it might mean for fire and rescue services. So I think it's important that someone from every service, at least one person, attends that conference, because there's going to be lots of information given and taken and developing of the NFCC positions.
Roy, that's really useful, thank you very much. Great to have you back in the studio with us again today. Look forward to receiving further updates from you in the future, so thank you very much.
Will do. Thank you, Richard.
Thanks all for watching.